to Realize Your Potential with Mike and Travis. We are here today with yet another exciting guest as we continue our series on the value of help. And I am so excited to have this person with us today. I feel like she's like a part of our family. I mean, she's worked with almost everybody in my family except me, and maybe we got to change that at some point, but we can talk about that after the show. But
work on those basketballs.
Right.
Yeah, I know it.
Well, I got, Mike knows I got that left hand. I done got him many a time. You know what I'm saying? Many a time. But we're here to welcome Jessica Rice, personal trainer, and frankly, one of the best. I've seen a ton of personal trainers in my day, but she's worked personally with our family, and just really happy to have you. One of the best I've ever seen. Thank you for joining our show today. We really, really appreciate it. Thank you so
thanks
much.
for having me.
Yeah, so Mike, but
this is why we're in our workout
right,
gear.
yeah, right, right.
Gear.
People might be like, "Wait, you don't got your collars on." We kind of switched it up a little bit today, just to work with the theme. But because she said we have to have a workout afterwards, right? Yeah, she said we're gonna work out afterwards, so we got to get it in. But anyways, Mike, what do people need to do before we even start off the show? What do we need people to do, man?
Always like, subscribe, and comment below.
Gosh, comment.
Make sure you guys are commenting.
Comment. Yeah, let's continue that circle. Yep. So here we go. Let me tell you guys a little bit about Jessica. So Jessica is an NASM certified fitness professional with over 8 years of experience in the sports and fitness industry. Her career began, though, when she was awarded a scholarship to play Azusa Pacific basketball for the women's team. I'm sure they went undefeated while she was there because she's a superstar. I've seen her. She works with my daughter playing basketball. She's like really, really good. So, but I'm sure that they had a great season while she was there. But during her time, she actually was able to earn a bachelor's degree in applied exercise science. And she worked as a sports programs coordinator for the YMCA and the city of Rancho Cucamonga. She's coached girls basketball. She's developed and implemented youth basketball clinics for the city of Rancho Cucamonga as well. In 2013, she pursued her personal training full-time in Rancho Cucamonga. Over the years, she's had the pleasure to help large populations of people, from young athletes to prenatal and postnatal women, corporate professionals, and even elderly adults reach their fitness goals. In 2019, she became a corrective exercise specialist to better assist individuals with identifying and correcting muscle imbalances so as to prevent injury, postural issues, and potential limitations in the client's movement patterns. Man, that was a mouthful. Okay. But I think one of the things that is actually one of the most impressive things I've seen about Jessica is that in 2020, during the pandemic, she also launched her brand called Bodynamics. And also with that brand, she also created a youth fitness program to help parents and kids fight obesity and the lack of movement due to schools shut down and orders. And she does it COVID compliant, which is pretty impressive. But to start a brand during the pandemic, Jessica, I commend you. Like I said, near and dear to my heart because my middle daughter has been a client of yours, and she now plays college soccer. And you were one of the ones to help her get into really great shape so she could compete at a D1 collegiate level. My wife has worked with you, and now my youngest daughter is working with you for basketball and fitness. So from personally, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for keeping my family healthy. But I'm just super impressed with everything that you do. So thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a blessing.
Yeah.
And I was just gonna say, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And then we'll get you hooked up soon, Mike. You know what I'm saying? I know your trainer's gone right now, so he's off doing some other things. So maybe we'll hook you up. We'll both do it. But Jessica, I mean, talk to us a little bit about what are you doing now, and kind of mix in a little bit of why this? Well, how did this become your passion?
Personal training, fitness career. Why?
Yeah.
Well, mainly It's been a part of sports have been a part of my life since a young age, right? So I've always been pretty active, and I've really been able to learn the benefits of it, of being active and being physically fit. It's just, to me, it's a life changer, and it affects every single dynamic. Which is why I came up with Bodynamics, is because fitness and sports play a huge part on every single aspect of your life. And so for me, just to impart that into other people's lives and show them the value of fitness and having good nutrition and maintaining a healthy lifestyle is really important to me, because I know how much it can positively impact somebody else's life, you know. And so even now, you know, for a long time, I've just been helping mostly adults or even like college athletes. But recently, through this pandemic, I've really wanted to help also the youth. And I think me having kids has kind of played a part into that too, because I want to do that for my own kids. And so I want to help all the other parents out there, especially now through the pandemic, who are struggling to figure out how to keep their kids active because their kids are home all day, you know, doing school. And so that's one reason why I wanted to branch out and also help the youth this last year too.
So thank you for sharing that. So in terms of the topics, you know, we've been doing this series in terms of, you know, how to reach out for support, you know, like, if I identify that I need help, like, how do I go about doing that? For you, like, what is your experience with sort of some of the why around why people are reaching out right now for support?
Because they're going.
Obviously to have,
Right.
you know, some sort of fitness, but I'm sure that you do some discovery around, you know, their why, right? So I'm hoping you can talk a little bit.
So especially lately this last year, I would say towards the end of 2020, a lot more people had been reaching out to me just for personal training. Part of the reason is because everything's closed down, you know, and I have a private training studio that I, you know, help people in. So it's a very controlled environment, so we can stay safe and also help everybody reach their goals. But I think too, another reason why people are reaching out is because they see that I'm trying my best to really help them, you know, and I'm available for them and motivating, you know, trying my best on social media and everything to really motivate people and to stay positive through a really hard time. Even sometimes I'm open and honest, you know, even social media has been huge lately, especially with the pandemic, but I try to be open and honest with even my own struggles, because it's not easy to stay healthy, and I'm, you know, trying to homeschool my kids too and work. And so I think people just want to have a healthy lifestyle, and they're feeling down and they're feeling discouraged and they're feeling like they're gaining weight because they're not moving and they're stressed out, you know. And so my goal has always been to relieve them of their stress, to help them mentally to overcome. And so providing my training services will do more than just help them achieve their fitness goals, you know, and provide an outlet that way. But I'm concerned about their overall health, you know, and success. And so fitness is a huge starting point for that, but mentally it can shift your perspectives and change your outlook on life too once you start feeling better from the inside from your workouts, you know. But just having that accountability partner there to really motivate you, encourage you while you're feeling down is, I think, key for a lot of people right now.
Yeah, speak on that a little bit more, right? Because I think everybody goes, all right, it's a new year, I'm gonna get in shape, right? And that's like the biggest New Year's resolution, I think, every year.
Mm-hmm.
But most people try to do it on their own, right? They're like, okay, I'm gonna buy a bunch of exercise equipment, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing, right?
No.
Not at all, right? We've got all kinds of exercise equipment in our
Yeah.
house, but why? What's the value of getting a personal trainer? Like, why do I need that? Why can't I just exercise more?
So a lot of people will come to me after the new year, not just right after the new year, but usually a couple months later, because they start recognizing the value in needing some help, and they're working hard to reach their goals, but the going gets tough, and then you're maybe not reaching your goals, and you thought that you would by a certain amount of time or something like that. So people will come out to ask for additional help because they want to get to their goals quicker. Summer's coming. A lot of times it's, that type of motivation. They're trying to change their bodies quickly. But
get their summer bod right.
Mm-hmm, yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
right
when I help them out, then my goal as a coach is to really figure out, again, like I talked about earlier, their why and why they want to achieve their fitness goals. Sometimes people will actually have a hard time really admitting those things, and so for me to just be open and kind of honest about my own struggles, or honest about somebody else that is trustworthy as well, then they're more willing to open and share what they're going through, and then I can help motivate them and help keep them accountable. So that's some of the value of having a coach, is really just making sure that you're helping them stay accountable to reaching their goals. And so I've really worked hard to do that. But and then additionally to just ensuring my clients that it's a safe place for them to be honest and open about why they're struggling with what they're struggling and why they want to get to their goals. For me to assure them too that my concern isn't just about their health or about reaching their fitness goals, but it's about their overall health and well-being too. So having that safe place for them, it has been beneficial to most of my clients, and it helps them reach real good full success, not just in their fitness and life too. But I mean, the other thing too that's really important in having a coach or a personal trainer is to just build personal awareness. So, and this is key in personal training. I think a lot of times people will come to me thinking, hey, I've been doing squats, I've been doing this, I've been doing that. And then I'm like, okay, cool, that's good. Like, let me check your form. Let me see how you're doing. Their form looks terrible. And I'm like, this is why you're not getting results. You're not doing it right. So what I'm trying, in just assessing people and really looking, because a lot of times when you have somebody looking at you from the outside in, you might think you're doing something a certain way. You might think you're doing it right. But until somebody else looks at you and tells you what you really look like, then you start to get a real gut check. Like, you're like, wait a second, yeah, I do look like that, or I talk like that, or I act like that, stuff like that. Sometimes it is why it's important to have a coach or somebody on the outside looking in. And so for me to assess somebody's movement patterns and to help them out that way, has been more beneficial. Sometimes it'll kind of, how do I say it? It'll kind of humble you in the beginning because you think you're doing everything the way you're supposed to, but it takes a walk of really just exposing yourself and being humiliated a little bit. And then after that, though, once you start building yourself up from there, it's a huge confidence booster, especially when you start to really recognize and have more personal awareness too. But
yeah, that's awesome.
So I'm wondering, you talked about, it being sort of a safe space for people to sort of, have discussions and that sort of thing, along with, hey, you need to do this, get deeper in that squat, etc., which I'm sure that's what the conversations look like. But I'm wondering if you reflect back, do you see the difference in terms of people moving through their process quicker if they're able to be more open with you, more upfront about what they're experiencing and maybe what their struggles are? Like, do you find that you can move people along their journey quicker if they're able to do that, rather than being standoffish, reserved, really not, engaging?
Oh, yeah. If they're able to do that and really be open and honest with me, like 9 times out of 10, they hit their goals quicker than the others, because then what's happening if they don't is they're really, truly stuck fighting this fight on their own, and not really having that coach with you, because you haven't allowed yourself to connect and to receive, and how can I help you if I don't really know what's going on, So for them to be honest about everything. And I always tell my clients too, when they first start out with me, make sure you communicate, even through our session. Like, if you're tired, if you're like wanting a break, because sometimes they don't even tell me anything, and then I'm like, they're dying, because you can't always tell just by looking at, especially with the mask on.
Right, yeah.
You're like, are
right.
you okay? Like, tell me how you're feeling, you know? So when they communicate with me about those things, then it helps me to push them harder, or it'll help me to slow them down a little bit. It'll help me to know when to take breaks. You know, it's just, you gotta have that communication. That's the only way you grow.
Yeah, and you know,
Thank you so much for that.
well, I think it's hilarious from a personal
Right.
perspective because I always hear my wife like, man, Jessica acts like she's making the routine for Skylar, who's our daughter, right? Because she'll like push Angela to the same level, and sometimes Angela's gotta be like, okay, like I can't do that exercise, or that's a little bit out of my scope. But and so that's like just like an example of like what you're talking about from a personal perspective. Like, hey, just be open and honest about what you can do, and that will help you reach your goals to get to where you want to go. You know, I think it's funny, Mike, that you latched onto the same thing that I was going to talk about too, which is that idea of like open and honest and how that can help you in development with a coach, right? And I think that that's so important. And what you've heard from, you know, Lori the week before, what you heard from Mike and I, and what you'll hear from every other guest is very similar to what Jessica talked about. Is this is really for you, right? So if you're not being open and honest, and you can't be open and honest about how you're feeling, what you want, what your goals are, and how you want to get there, then you're really going to limit how effective a coach can be for you, because really the coach is just there to help you see and give you techniques to get you to your goals. But if they don't know what you're really thinking on the inside, if you're not being honest and open with them, it's hard for them to give you the right tool. They may be giving you a hammer and you need a screwdriver, right? And so you've got to be really, really open. And so I really latched onto that. I thought that was a really great point, Jessica. And I think it's huge. And I've seen you put it into work with our family. So it's not just like, you know, trainer speak or whatever the case may be, right? It's really, really important.
And I would say for those of you all watching out there, you know, we really want to try to encourage and empower you to consider, like, what is it that's going to get me to reach out and ask for help and sort of try to go through that process that we talked about in earlier videos. A part of that is sitting with yourself and sort of having the awareness. Am I willing to be vulnerable right now to sort of talk through what it is that maybe I'm really struggling with, and to allow someone to maybe help facilitate that journey for me, or I'm going on that journey with someone else, and whatever that might mean, you know? So, because it's going to be a huge part of, you know, getting a coach and getting help. And again, whether it's a therapist, you know, a business coach, a life coach, a fitness trainer, you know what I mean? Like there's core components and tenets to be able to help navigate through these processes. So and that's what we're talking about.
No, nailed it. I think, Jessica, so when people are struggling with opening up, right? Because I'm sure you run into that a ton into what you do. Maybe even more than maybe Mike and I with coaching clients. Because I think in some ways there's an assumption that they're going to be open and honest when they hire an executive coach or a life coach or therapist. But sometimes with a personal trainer, they may be trying to hide that, right? Like almost like, hey, I don't want to give the personal trainer everything I got, like what I'm doing wrong and what's wrong with me, because, you know, I don't want to be embarrassed in front of them, right? What techniques or thoughts or advice do you have to either help people get through that feeling? Like, so these are some things that you do with them, or just advice in general for them to help them through that process?
When people are struggling with that, I try my best to just honestly remind them that everybody starts somewhere, you know, and not to compare themselves to maybe the places that they want to be, or to somebody who's already further along in their fitness journey, because even that person started from the bottom somewhere, you know, like everybody has a starting point that doesn't always look pretty, or, you know, looks not so attractive, whatever, I don't know, whatever they have in their mind. So I try to just remind them that too, you're okay to start from the bottom, because it's like that for everybody, and to not compare themselves to anybody else. It's really just themselves trying to better themselves, you know. And so I too try to remind them, you know, of my own struggles and the things that I, even struggle with now that are hard, or my failures. But then again, encourage them that they can still overcome, these little battles that they'll face along the way. And to just know that it's all part of our growing process. We're not going to be perfect along the way, but to just accept it for what it is and keep going and keep just trying to push yourself to be better every single day is what's most important. So, yeah.
Good stuff. Yeah. One more thing, like I think one of the things that's really or not one more thing, but one thing I want to add is I think one of the things that I'm really impressed with about what you do as a personal trainer, and I'm sure this could be true of a bunch of personal trainers, but you don't just focus on the exercise, right? Like you don't just say, okay, we're going to do this exercise, you're going to do 10 reps of this and you do 10 reps of that, and then boom, you're done, have a great day. Right. You truly do focus on the mindset, like how do they keep their mindset positive through this experience? Like I've seen you text with my daughter and my wife and kind of keep their minds in the right place. And then also I've seen you sit with my youngest and talk about nutrition afterwards, right? Mm-hmm. And the balance between that. And so not just working hard, but how do you keep your body healthy? Mm-hmm. What do you think as a trainer, like why is that so important to just not just kind of talk about the exercise, but to really educate the whole person, I guess, as I would call it in that scenario?
Your mind has a huge factor into what you can accomplish, so even with the little kids, like with Aaliyah, I talk about nutrition, but a huge part of the class that she's in, Overcoming Obstacles, is called Overcoming Obstacles. So what we work on is just zoning in on different character traits, building character. So I'll pick a character each month that they should work on, whether it's discipline or resilience or honesty, and just give them real life situations or try to apply it to even their workouts, how they can apply that character trait as they go along. And so with my clients too, it's the same way. How your mind thinks is what's going to bring you success or not. If you're constantly thinking of the impossible things and the failures and the struggles that you're facing over and over again, and your focus is on that all the time, then you're never going to overcome. A lot of times even I'll be training my clients, let's say they're doing a plank or something like that, and I'm like, okay, hold this plank, we're gonna hold it for a minute. And then they start zoning in, thinking about how much pain they're in and how hard it is. And they're like, I can't. And like,
that would be me. I'm like, I'm tapping out at 40 seconds.
Yeah, so
like,
they just
hold
fall
up,
down and give up, But then when I tell them, okay, think about how much stronger you're going to be after you finish this. You might feel weak now, but your muscles are going to gain strength when you push through and you don't stop. Or think about like just the fact that you'll be able to do it. So when you start shifting your mind away from the pain or away from the hardships and the failures and things that have not worked for you, then you start focusing more on what is possible, what you can do, what, you want to overcome, then you will. It's just a matter of how you're thinking. It determines on where you'll go in life. And this could be for every aspect of life, not just fitness. So, but our minds are so huge. And a lot of times too, when people are in a negative state of mind and constantly thinking about what they can't do and they're stressed out, they end up, even their physical body will stress out, right? So it's not just in the mind, but it affects now their physical state. And so now their muscles tense up more, they have more body aches, they're not able to move as well. So your mind has a huge physiological impact on you too. So that's why I have to always make sure, that's like the most important thing, is to train people how to think as they're reaching their fitness goals too. Yeah.
And that's right. And if you think about like the pattern of our series, Mike, right? Like it was, okay, how do I identify my passion? I think that's what Jessica's talking about. Like why am I here? Why am I doing this, right? And then our second part of the series was really, okay, now I've identified my passion, get my mind in the right place. And that's kind of what Jessica is talking about as well, right? Which is keeping your mindset in the right place. And now we're in the value of help, which the trainer is, right? And by you just picking up the phone or clicking on the email or sending that text and saying, okay, I'm ready for this, you know, and kind of like Lori said in last week's episode, she was like, just do it, right? Just do it. Like if you're inclined to ask for help, just do it. And that's the kind of step we're at right now, right? And so it's really interesting to hear you kind of explain that, because it's something we've been talking about for months throughout the series. And I think it's just a really cool parallel to just how you are successful, right? And one of the things about this show is these are really successful people who do very similar things and have different spins on it, but the core of what we're talking about is typically the same, right? And through what you talked about right there, it's a great example of that. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
And so Jessica, if folks watching this, if they wanted to reach out to you, like how would they find you? How would they say, hey, you know, I want her to get my mindset straight and help me out, like, you know, in terms of fitness and all that.
Yeah, they can follow me on Instagram. Trainer Jess is it? Trainer Jess with an extra S. And I have a website too, www.bodynamics.org. They can email me at jessica@bodynamics.org or call me. All that information is also on my Instagram page too. So best way I think is always Instagram. That's how you're going to really get to know me.
Oh man. And Mike, isn't it interesting, like each guest we have based on their age group of where they direct people to? It's so funny, like, you know, but Instagram is the way, and that's the way now, right? For the younger generation, it's the best way to reach out. Before we wrap up, because I think we're coming to around that time, Jessica, one of the things I've noticed is how people come to each session is what they get out of each session, right? So if they come in with the right mindset and they work out really hard, like they seem to get more excited you, right? Because you're like, okay, cool, this is great, like this is fun, like we're working together and we're growing together, right? And I know I do that as a coach, right? When you come to a session, I have clients that pay for a session and they're like, yeah, I didn't do my homework, or I didn't work hard, or I don't know what to talk about this week. And it's like, okay, well, I mean, you're paying me for what, right? Like, why are you doing like, what are we doing here, right? But the ones who come like, man, I did this and I did this, like those sessions are like, woo, let's go. And I feel like my clients get the most out of it because they get the best out of me as well. Am I wrong in seeing that, or is that how you feel? Like if the client comes, they're going to get more out of the session based on how they bring to it.
Like if a client comes, pays for the sessions, you mean? Like signs up?
Yeah, if they come ready, like if they just come like they're working hard. I know, like, you know, every time, you know, Aaliyah or Skylar, you've always talked about how when they come, like they work really, really hard.
Yeah.
How does that impact what they get from you, right? Yeah. How does that get ready? How does that impact how much they can get from each session or get from?
Oh, yeah. Right? That's why, you know, even before they come to their sessions, I try to send them text reminders, different motivational things. I try to, you know, ensure that they're eating right, drinking right, all that stuff, so that when they come to their session, they're ready, you know, or even come in early, warm up so that their body's warm, you know, their mind is ready too. So I encourage people to do that the best that they can, because if they just show up, there's people too sometimes that show up late and they're stressed out with life. And sometimes, you know, I, as their trainer, you know, that's part of life. I'm not going to get down on them because they're not showing up like they're supposed to, ready and doing everything right. But it does help, you know, obviously for them to reach the best results, to do the most that they can at home. The homework that I give them at home will help them to progress more easily when they're in the session with me. But it doesn't always happen like that. So some people just have crazy lives. And so when they come to me, I might be the one thing that is going to help them stay on track anyways, you know. So just have to work from person to person. Everybody's different. Everybody has different lifestyles, you know, so just try to work with them with wherever they're at.
Thank you so much, Jessica, for joining us. I mean, once again, I feel like we say this every week, but rewind it, man. There's so many great gems in here. You know, Jessica, give us your Instagram and your website one more time so people can reach out if they feel like you'd be a great way to help them.
Yeah, Trainer Trainer Jess is my Instagram account, and website is Bodynamics, BODYNAMICS.org. And it's under construction right now. It should actually be published this week. But other than that, yeah, that's it. And then my email is the same, jessica@bodynamics.org. So you guys can reach me there.
Perfect.
Follow me, show you my life, my crazy life, and what I do. But yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
Right on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was fun.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. All right. Well, like, share, and subscribe. Check us out. I hope you got a lot out of this episode. I know that I did. And really, really excited. Once again, thank you so much, Jessica. And we'll see all of you next week.